Hello. Hi. It's sidearm time. Yeah. Anyways, all the same things apply except for the job, which has changed only slightly. The job of a sidearm is high close range DPS, able to kill 1 to 2 enemies quickly with little headshot accuracy required. So a spam, I'm really close to your weapon, basically. Alright, so first up we have F word I cannot pronounce. Alright, F word I cannot pronounce. It is a rapid fire frame. It is a Ceros weapon, so it has a Ceros origin trait, which I think is better on sidearms than on auto rifles, in my opinion. Does it look and sound cool? It sounds like shit. It just sounds like a little toy gun. It looks pretty cool though. I would give it like a 3 probably. Does it do its job? Does this thing kill, I don't know, 1 to 2 enemies really quickly? 3. Archetype holds it back. And how easy is it to get? It's a world drop. Um, there's not a lot of different role combinations you can really get on this thing that'll work in PvE. So I'd give it like a 2. And how unique is the role set? Um, I give this like a 3, although it might be a little bit of PvP bias showing here. Even though we're not talking about PvP, it's just, I don't know, it comes out of me, dude. I like PvP sometimes. Anyways, um, in this third column, Pugilist for PvE is the best trait in my opinion. Being able to get your melee energy back when you're already in close range, it makes sense. Um, Threat Detector would be number 2. And then Repulsor Brace is a nice defensive option, while Golden Tricorn is the more aggressive option, with Swashbuckler being a about equivalent with Golden Tricorn. Stats for this gun is not out of the ordinary. Final verdict, B tier. I think that if you're any better than this gun, you're doing really good. If you're any worse than this gun, you probably need some help. It's pretty stock standard for its archetype, in my opinion. Next gun, Allied Demand. Alright, so Allied Demand, it's adaptive frame, which is one of my favorites. It does have a weird quirk with the new full auto trigger system, where you can, every gun's full auto. If you hold it, it does have this weird thing where it tends to want to shoot twice. But you have infinite ammo, so it's not too big a deal. It's just a little annoying. Um, Origin traits, PvP origin trait, and field tested. We've talked about it before. Makes it a workhorse type weapon, in my opinion. So not bad. Uh, Looks. Does it look cool? Does it sound cool? Give it a 3. It's like a suppressed pistol, and it even makes a suppressed pistol sound. I'm cool with that, with the little dogs on it and whatnot. Nothing too crazy, but it's alright. Does it do its job? Um, 4. Yes, but we'll get into it in a minute. How easy is it to get across? Come across one? 3. It's from Iron Banner, so you have to wait for Iron Banner. But once Iron Banner is around, it's really easy to get a hold of it. Um, how unique is its stat rolls? It's like a 2 for PvE. There's only like 1, maybe 2 rolls that you care about for PvE. You want either rapid hit or subsistence, and then frenzy, or you're looking for something niche at that point. So there's not a lot to give as far as its role uniqueness. Its archetype carries it. Its archetype and frenzy alone carry it really far. Final verdict, B tier. Um, it's alright. It does its job, you know. if you get the right roll. The problem is it's uh, scarcity and the lack of multiple useful perks. Brigand's Law. Alright, it's rapid fire. It's craftable. Um, right hook is a really good origin trait. If you deal melee damage, you get 10 range and 10 aim assist. Um, does it look cool? I like the aesthetic, but I don't think it looks cool. I think they could have did better. This is a 2. Does it do its job? Hell the fuck yes. Um, how easy is it to get? It's like a 2. Now, I know we talked about craftable, but I'll get into it in just a second. And how unique is the roll set? 4. Yeah, so at least how easy is it to get? It's craftable. The problem now is that the only way you're gonna be able to get it is if you get lucky drops from Zur or the gunsmith. I'm not 100% sure, but most old weapons are also tied to one of the weekly exotic weapon rotations. Um, one of those missions. I don't think this is. So your best bet is just going to be Zur and gunsmith when it comes around, and using your thingy thingies to make it a red border. But this would be a weapon that I would say would be worth it, because in the third column you can get pugilist to help with your melee regeneration, which ties into right hook. You can get threat detector, which you're probably going to be close range with this gun anyway. Um, and then in the fourth column, you can get Volt Shot. I considered another role. I like the idea of having both Pugilist and Demo at the same time. You're getting melee regen and grenade regen at the same time, and both of those things also buff other stuff. You're automatically reloading and getting yourself more handling, and then it also is going to give yourself the range aim assist. But I think Volt Shot is just so good here, it's kind of hard to deny its strength. It has a built-in reload multiplier because it's a rapid fire frame anyway, and you're typically um, emptying the clip on most sidearms. So Volt Shot and Pugilist, um, really, really good on this gun. Really, really good on this gun. Final verdict: A tier. Simple way to look at it: would I take this over a word I cannot pronounce and Allied Demand? Yes. Do I think it's meta breaking in any way or like the best sidearm? Um, maybe I'll change my mind at the end, but right now, no. It's definitely better than 59 here in Allied Demand. Ugh. Yeah, hate this one. The Booty C. Alright, the Boudica C is a precision frame. Unique. You don't see a lot of those. It does mean that it kind of hurts its ability to do its job because it needs crits. It is a world drop. It has the Hake Breach Armaments origin trait, which no, on the sidearm especially. Um, does it look and sound cool? I think it looks mid. It sounds mid, but that's still okay. Like it doesn't look terrible. It just kind of looks like a regular gun, which I'm into in Destiny. You don't get a whole ton of those. Now, does it do its job? I gave it a 1. This might be a little bit of bias coming in, to be fair, but I hate this gun. It just doesn't ever do anything, despite the fact that it's pretty easy to get in a world drop, and that it has actually really unique role sets here. It has one for all and stats for all. You don't see that on sidearms very often. Um, surrounded, which you don't see a whole ton of. You have threat detector, also useful. Swashbuckler, which makes sense on a sidearm. You have pugilist, which is one of the better um, regeneration traits, especially for a sidearm, and it's in the third column on a world drop, which is wild. Frenzy, my baby, my best friend here, Frenzy, love it. It even has the utility of something like osmosis. With it being a kinetic frame weapon, you can have three of all the same element at the same time. But for some reason, no matter what I do, when I shoot this gun, I'm always missing. Like all the time, like bullets just disappear. I hate this gun. Final verdict. C tier. I feel like it probably should be more B tier, like high B tier. But if you can't use the gun, it just doesn't. You can't. The gun doesn't work. All right. I shoot, bullets miss, despite all of the really good different traits that it has, and you just kind of randomly get it because it's a world drop. Next gun, Buzzard. Buzzard. Um, I like this one. It's adaptive, so it's a good frame. It drops from Nightfalls. It's Nightfall Exotic. It is kinetic. It has Vanguard's Vindication, which is a terrible origin trait, and then Stun Recovery, which is a only slightly better origin trait than Vanguard's Vindication. These things need updates. Bungie, how does it look? I think it looks really cool actually, because it kind of looks like a Nerf gun, and I think that's funny. Does it do its job? Yes, very much so. How unique is this? Rolls? 4 out of 5. I think that it has some things that other guns just don't, but it also has a couple things that other guns do, or sidearms in particular do, which make it pretty good. And how easy is it to get? A 4. You just run the crap out of the Nightfall, and once you get it once, you can just re-roll it if you just farm. So pretty good. Um, to be more specific with Purse, it has Frenzy, which is always going to be the GOAT in my opinion. Vorpal, which is 20% on primaries, by the way. And with sidearms being the highest DPS primary in the game, this would imply that you would have the highest DPS against yellow bars on a primary in the game with this, barring some numbers I don't remember. So pretty good. Um, and then Kinetic Tremors, which is more of a utility take here, but it's a really good utility. AoE damage for just dealing damage is nice. Um, and you can make this work with your bait and switch other heavy weapons that do DPS, which is nice. In the third column, I think is where the gun starts losing a little steam. This would be fourth time to charm, which is good, but a bit odd on a sidearm, as I don't want to be focusing on crits like that. Perpetual motion, which does help with its reload speed, handling, and stability. But stability isn't an issue. Handling is okay out of the box, and the reload speed, in my opinion, is the thing you would be looking to upgrade. But if you have overflow, you just double your magazine every time you pick up ammo. So overflow is the best perk here. Final verdict. A tier. There's no way that this thing is worse than something like Allied Demand or uh, F59 here. Its archetype is solid. It has really good perks. It's pretty easy to get a hold of. That's the only reason why it's slightly higher than Brigand's Laws, because it's easier to get a hold of. Um, Drang. Drang. Or Baroque. Yes, I had to look that up. Anyways, Together Forever is its archetype. That's hilarious. All that means is that it pairs with another exotic weapon. Nobody uses double primary though, so don't worry about it. It's a um adaptive, if I remember correctly. Um, the origin trait to excess. I really like it. While you have your supercharged, you gain 20% discipline and 20 strength for 12 seconds upon a kill. This pairs really well with any exotic armor that gives you super energy. Now, how does it look? I think it looks awesome, actually. It looks like even for nowadays, like an old 007 pistol with just a jewel just slapped in it. Really cool. Um, does it do its job? Yes. Hell the fuck yes. Um, how easy is it to get? And is it craftable? I give it a three. Because it's craftable, and you can. The only way to get it now, though, is if you do, I believe it's Vox Obscura as the weekly exotic mission rotator. But yeah, you can get it from there, which is not very hard. Once it comes around, just run the crap out of that thing. It also drops from Zur and Banshee. And the tower, that applies to every gun here, pretty much, almost every gun here anyway. Um, Now, as far as traits are concerned, I don't think its traits are very unique. You really only have a couple of options. It's just those options are really good. So for me, incandescent, just off top, this is the one you want, right? You can get vorpal weapon, but I don't really think vorpal weapon is necessary because the gun does enough damage in general, and it's not kinetic, so you're not getting a huge boost out of it. I think vorpal goes better on like kinetic weapons. Um, Rampage and Swashbuckler, both of these are okay, but again, what we really want here is that synergy with Solar, which is what makes this gun really good. Now, you get really unique here because you can get Wellspring in this column. So now everything that you burn through your incandescent and it dies will give you general ability energy. So your grenade melee and class ability, which is really nice. I also kind of like Disruption Break just because that's unique that it's in the third column. I think if we got Disruption Break in the third column, people would use it more, um, which makes this gun synergize with any just purely kinetic weapon, which is also really good. But those are the only traits that are worth it really. Incandescent and then either Disruption Break or Wellspring. Nothing else here matters for PvE in my opinion. Final verdict. A tier. It's definitely right beside Brigand's Law and Buzzard for what it does. I think it and Buzzard have the same archetype, and they both lean into their affinities, synergies there with kinetic tremors and incandescent. And oddly enough, Brigand's Law also have synergy with its electricity, um, arc, and melee because arc is typically the melee class. Next weapon, Imperial Evidence. Um, First of all, is the best archetype in the game. The archetype's gonna hard carry it. Aggressive two burst. It's craftable. It comes directly from the Witch Queen DLC. Kinetic. How does it look? Like shit. I think the interesting thing is a little periodic table homages here. That's about it, really. It just looks like a weird put together Lego gun or something. Um, does it do its job? It does it okay. It doesn't have the best of perks, but the aggressive, hard hitting two fire burst kind of carries it, like I mentioned before. Um, how easy is it to get one? Five. Go to if you have Witch Queen, go to Witch Queen, run around, pick up chests and whatnot. You'll get the gun. Um, and it's craftable, so you can pick whatever you want here. How unique is the roll set? Not very unique. Adagio was originally something that I cared for, but it's since been power corrupt, and that's just like 2 years ago. Which is crazy to me. Um, the only other perks I would consider here would be Unrelenting, just because you're going to be close range anyway, so it'd be nice to get health for free. And Swashbuckler because you need some, or you would want some sort of damage perk, some sort of damage trait. Ensemble is like the worst possible thing they could have put here. It's completely useless. I just felt like I needed to point that out. And there's nothing here other than maybe perpetual motion that I'm excited about. Um, you could go with compulsive reloader now that it has been upgraded, but I don't think I reload enough for that. And then anytime you have to completely empty the clip, you're going to be out of your free reload speed. I did forget to mention its origin trait, but it has the same Psycho Hack origin trait as the auto rifle we talked about in the previous video. Basically, it's just sever but lesser, but it's still pretty good. Final verdict. Top of B tier. Its archetype is hard carrying, but I can't put it in A tier without perks that help complement its archetype. Next weapon, Forgiveness. Alright, and we have Forgiveness. Arc. It is also the best sidearm archetype in my opinion. It has alacrity, so if you're by yourself, you get a bunch of buffs, which is nice. And the really good Crucible origin trait. I like this one. Does it look cool? No, I think it looks dumb. I don't like the colors. The colors don't go well on this thing. Um, I feel like it should be like bright pink or something, like a little pocket rocket. Does it do its job? It does it pretty good. But the main reason it does it pretty good is because of its archetype. Archetype's hard carrying because there's not much here to help you out. Is it easy? Is it craftable? It's easy to acquire because you get it from trials. But the problem is that you have to get it from trials. Right. Um, Once you acquire it once, though, you can. Well, no, it's out of rotation now, so you could just play trials. You get enough Ingrams and then pick it up. How unique is the role or the stats? The stats are actually quite good. Being that it's a trials weapon, that's a trend actually. They tend to do that. The issue is the roles, as there are like one, which would be Demo and Adrenaline Junkie. And that's basically it. Um, you could argue Subsistence Adrenaline Junkie, but Demo does the same thing and gives you grenade energy back while not requiring you to get a kill to proc getting all of your ammo back versus some of it. So yeah, that would be the only way that I would use this. Final verdict. C tier. This is what happens when you give something as cool as empirical evidence even worse traits than it had before and take away its extra kinetic buff. Next weapon. Heliocentric. Alright, it's a lightweight frame, which is a okay frame. It's whatever, it's solar. It has the nadir focus origin trait, which basically the longer you fire, the more range you get, and the slightly better accuracy, which is all useful, all good things, easy to activate. I like Nadir's origin trait. How does it look? I think it looks cool. It looks like it's a pressed Nerf gun, and I am here for it. Does it do its job? Hell yes. For perk reasons, which we'll get to in a minute. How easy is it to get? It's, I don't know, 3. It's alright. Like, it's definitely gonna drop for you. You just don't know how many times it's gonna drop for you, especially after the buffs that they did to world drops, because this is a world drop, and the uniqueness of the rolls. Incandescent is a tier perk. I like it. Adrenaline Junkie, B plus tier perk. I like it. Surrounded, B plus tier perk. I like it. I'm sorry, Precision Instrument. I don't like it on this sidearm because I don't want to land crits on a sidearm. But I can see this being potent if you can do that consistently. Frenzy, my baby, it is here as well. Looking at these traits, I feel like I've already underrated how unique and good its rolls are. Almost all of the perks in the right column are useful in PvE. I mean, even Kill Clip's good. Like, all of them are good. You just got to get the right one for you. You also have Synergy with Heal Clip, which is a solid perk. You get a kill, you reload, you get some health. A chunk of it, too, so that's pretty good. Perpetual Motion is a mid perk in PvE. Enlightened Action is actually quite good with maxing out your reload speed in, what, 4 hits? Because it's per damage instance, which is nice. I'm sorry, not reload speed, your handling. You max out your reload speed at 5 hits. Um, Demo is also really good. Yeah, this thing is coming for um, Drang's neck. Final verdict. And I also place it higher than both Bringer's Law and Drang. It's basically Drang. Uh, it's just a worse archetype, but much better perks on Drang. That's basically what happened to this gun. Drang does still have that unique interaction of having what is it, disruption break in that third column, making it uniquely equipped to deal with anti-barrier shields. But that is a niche application when compared to the general good usage of something like heliocentric. The words, dude. Next gun, high albedo. All right, high albedo, because you must have been high to think this gun was going to be any good. Adaptive three burst um frame. I don't like these in PvE, to be frank. Kinetic, not bad. You know, we take the kinetic. No origin trait because it's just old enough to miss that cutoff there. Um, does it look cool? Yeah, it looks like a Nerf gun. I'm down with that. I'm actually really cool with that. Does it do its job? Hell no. Really bad at its job. Is it easy to get? Yes. You just run some bounties for Varix or whatever. I think you can even get it specifically through a quest that he does every week, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Um, how unique are his rolls? His rolls are ass, which is the main reason why I think the gun sucks. Um, this was the we just sunset everything and everybody always wants damage perks, so we're gonna not give them damage perks so we can be different era of Bungie's life, and that was a fail. Um, high impact reserves, no. No. Yeah. Third column, threat detector, I guess. So I guess that would be the combination that you would be looking for. Um, yeah, we need to get the fuck out of here. Final verdict. D tier for don't even fucking bother. Waste of your time in PvE. And then it only has niche applications for PvP, with it being one of the few sidearms that have the head seeker trait. Next, indebted kindness. Ooh, a fancy one. This one's going to require a lot to go over. The good thing is that I have time today. Anyways, it is Arc. It comes from the Warlord's Ruin Dungeon. It is a rocket assisted frame sidearm. So it's literally a pocket rocket, which is both hilarious and useful in this situation. Does it look cool? No. I don't like the look here. I think it looks kind of goofy, to be honest with you. Does it do its job? Um, Interestingly enough, I think this has a completely different job, but it's also good. So I give it a 5 at the job that I think it's supposed to do, which I'll go over in a minute. Um, how easy is it to get? 4, just farm the dungeon, especially now with it being the new dungeon. The bosses are farmable. How unique is its roles slash stats? Um, it's entirely new class. It's just new in and of itself. Um, so first things first, we're gonna go over the origin trait, which I think is kind of mid. Destroying vehicles and constructs gets this weapon bonus reload speed and charge rate. This gun does take a second before it shoots, but it's not a charge. It's just slow RPM. And the reload speed is nice, but not really necessary because it has okay reload speed, and you have other ways to increase its reload speed. I know that thing says 28, but each reload speed is that's too complicated for this video, alright? It's fine. The reload speed is fine, and just throw one thing on here to increase your reload speed, and you'll be okay. Now, perk combinations here, which is another reason why I think it's really unique here. Attrition orbs, um, good on this gun for something I'm gonna go over in a minute because I still got to talk about what I think its job is. Volt shot, useful for ad clear if you wanted to use this for ad clear, which is a viable way to use it. Surrounded, it's a good trait because you could use this for boss damage in certain situations. And surrounded will help it be more viable. Permeability, this just is a great utility perk. It's osmosis with an easier activator, which is good. Deconstruction, um, still think it's a bit of an underrated perk. I think it could be even better um, if they let it proc a little bit more often. Like they got rid of the what's like a 5 second timer. Like get rid of the timer and just make it do the thing, and it'll be fine. And Adagio is a no because it shoots too slow for me. Beacon rounds I think is useless on this gun. Beacon rounds is a new trait. Basically, you get a kill and then it can track better. But yeah, not worth your time. Just land your shots, bro. Impulse amplifier, solid. Gets the missile from point A to point B faster and gives you reload speed. And light action, also really good. Reload speed, handling, we take those. If alpha hand strike, no. Loose change, I struggle with liking loose change. I really wish they would have gave it a reload scaler instead of just flat 50%. And let from go, which I think is also really good on this gun. As you can see, I had to go through a bunch of different traits here, which I don't normally go through, but because this gun is unique, I'm going to do so. This gun has both magazine perks and it has explosive traits like barrel perks and explosive magazine traits, um, which is quite unique. The role that I've been hinting at this whole time for this gun, I think, is sustain total backup damage. I know that seems weird and oddly specific, but hear me out here, right? You have a rocket launcher, like one that you can shoot like a bunch of bullets out really quickly. Or you have like a parasite where it does a bunch of damage like right now, right? But then after that, it just drops off terribly. Well, then you do your big spike of damage, and then you swap to this gun, which has great total damage. And anytime you're in a longer, basically when you would use a fusion rifle, you could use this instead, and that way you can use a higher burst damage option in your heavy slot and swap to this, and then sustain damage for a long time. Uh, just because these rockets pack a punch. Final verdict. Too unique to not be S tier, to be completely honest with you. I think that once others come out, you might get some better perk combinations, but it has a unique role that no other gun can do right now, um, as well as it does. That's not like a machine gun, maybe. And then there's other issues with that, to be fair. I also need to mention that it takes special ammo, but that's fine. The keening. Alright, the keening is adaptive, so it's a solid frame. Arc, also not bad. I love its origin trait. How does it look? Bad. I know I've been praising the whole suppressor look. It's something about these colors that I think are terrible. Um, does it do its job? Averagely, because it has a pretty good origin trait and it has one or two perk combinations that help it out. How easy is it to get one? Super easy. Play Crucible. I feel like these things drop for me all the time in Crucible, and you can still focus it. How unique are the roles? Not very. This thing has like a bunch of perks. So I'm not gonna go over all of them. I will only go over the ones that are relevant. Which for me would be one for all. And situationally surrounded. In the third column, Grave Robber and Subsistence and Threat Detector are the most important perks for me. I don't want to give this gun too much more time because I don't think it's that good. It's alright. It's mid. Final verdict. C tier is better than the Boudica C because it actually lands shots, but not much better, in my opinion. Next weapon, Luminal Vigil. Or maybe it's Liminal Vigil. I don't know. Anyways, does it look and sound cool? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. What is this thing? I like it. It's like a hand guard or something. Hilarious. Silver. The wood is nice. Does it do its job? Yes, quite well. It has a really good archetype and it has solid perks to help with this archetypal advantage. How easy is it to get? That's craftable. This would be about a 3. Um, you'd have to run Spire of the Watcher, and if Spire of the Watcher is not the weekly rotator dungeon, then you can't farm it right now. You can just do it, run through with however many characters you have, and hope you get one. How unique is the rolls on it? For it, they definitely tried experimenting with some different stuff here. Not all of it worked, but it does end up making it unique. So, is Stasis is the best archetype for sidearms in the game, in my opinion. Is Origin Trait text balance stop? Basically, you land a couple hipfire shots, and then you get 20% handling, 20 reload, and a zero point 0.9 reload duration multiplier. You also move a little faster when you aim down sights, and strafe left and right. Um, the only thing that's really useful here in PvE, in my opinion, is the reload speed and the reload speed scaler, but that's still really good. So you don't necessarily need a reload trait in the third column, for that exact reason. Um, and then in the third column, you get surrounded, which I've been praising so far. Desperado. Now this one's an interesting one. You get a kill, a precision headshot kill. You reload. Now you shoot really, really fast for 5.2 seconds. Not bad. I'd take that. That would be okay with me. And then the other one would be swashbuckler for I'm close, so I do the punchies type reasons. Now in this third column, you do get really tricky because they add headstone. It does require you to land a crit, but this archetype does do a lot of damage, so those lower end targets should be easy to deal with, and get a crit kill with. Uh, if you're just not really feeling that, then I think threat detector is the goal here, to be honest. Um, so not bad. I really like this gun. Final verdict: B tier. I think it's quite similar to empirical evidence. The reason why I drop it below it is because it's slightly harder to get. Despite its other advantages, it's just slightly harder to acquire, and that's about it. If these things were the same amount of difficulty to acquire and liminal was craftable, it would definitely be better than Imperial Evidence, in my opinion. Next weapon, Mikhail's Reverence. All right, Mikhail's Reverence, and I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, but anyways, it's rapid fire, so not my favorite. It is craftable, but it does come from a raid. It's Strand, which is good for us. Harmonic Resonance. If you have a bunch of guns that come from this raid or that have the Harmonic Resonance trait, then your gun gets some reload speed and handling, which is nice. But I don't, I don't, I don't know why you would force that to be a thing. Um, yeah. Does it look cool? Yeah. It looks like an alien ball sack. I think it's hilarious. Um, yeah, that's it. That's the whole reason why I like the way it looks. Does it do its job? For it does okay. The traits help it out a lot. Is it easy to get one, and is it craftable? It is not that easy to get one, although it is craftable. Are the rolls on it unique? Are the stats of any importance? Stats seem to be above average, but that's par for the course with raid weapons. Um, so nothing crazy. Frenzy is really good, and so is Hatchling, and so is Paracausal Affinity, in my opinion. Um, Frenzy for obvious reasons, Hatchling because it synergizes with Strand, and Paracausal Affinity because it synergizes with Darkness aligned subclasses to give you a 20% buff. Think of it as like a midway point between high end and low end buff on Golden Tricorn, which is nice. Ellie Cap, Unrelenting is good with Frenzy. You get reround rounds, which is a nice for like single target DPS, but I don't really see a reason to do that. Pugilist and Perpetual Motion. So a bunch of traits in the third column that kind of hold this weapon back. Full disclosure, I've never had a Mikhail's Reverence, but just looking at the traits and having used other rapid fire frame sidearms, my final verdict is going to be Low A tier. Its traits are solid. Its best stats in its class, and strand synergy helps out a lot here. Also, it's not terrible to get a hold of. Next weapon, Peace Bond. All right, hold on, wait. Is this even on? This is the wrong one. Good job, Q. We want Peace Bond, right? Right, Peace Bond. So, it's stasis. It comes from Iron Banner. It's an adaptive 3-round burst, which is not my favorite. Um, PvP origin trait. Does it look cool? Yeah. Yeah, I give it about a 3. Does it do its job? Yeah. Give it about a 4. How easy is it to get? Very, because it's Iron Banner. And how unique are its roles? I give it about a 3. It has a couple things that are interesting, and its stats are pretty solid. So, um, surrounded in its fourth column is good. Um, I meant to mention Headstone as a really good trait here as well. The combination of Headstone and Subsistence is really good because whenever you create a elemental thing with the gun and it kills people, it's considered gun damage. So any buffs or whatever you get from gun damage will apply. So Subsistence will proc off Headstone kills. So you can get a bunch of bullets back for the free, which is nice. But there is nothing else in this third column that I would deem usable. Final verdict. C tier, which is a bit surprising to me. I was really into this gun when it first dropped, but it's just kind of been creeped down. Um, I think that if you're looking for a stasis sidearm, Lumina is probably your best bet here. Next weapon. Next weapon. Punching out. Solar. Rapid fire frame. Not my favorite. Does have Vanguard's Vindication and Shiro's origin traits, which Shiro's is good. Vanguard's Vindication is a waste of your time. Um, does it do its job as a sidearm? Yeah, yeah, I think it does it pretty good. Um, how does it look? Interesting. I like the bird that they put on there. It's really interesting. But that's about it. Um, how easy is it to get? Like one of the easiest in the game. Do you just run strikes like it's gonna happen? You're like this is gonna drop for you. The problem is it has a whole bunch of traits which are annoying. Um, and then speaking of traits, how unique is its roles? Not super, not super unique, but there's some good things in here. Surrounded again, swashbuckler again. We've talked about those. Those are pretty good. And frenzy or adrenaline junkie. So all of those are pretty good. Overflow's probably my favorite in the third column. Um, the only other thing I think that can match Overflow's utility would be subsistence or grave robber here. Um, yeah, so this is it's okay. It's okay. I don't hate it. Final verdict. Bottom of B tier. I think that it is really, really pushed down by the fact that we have both heliocentric and Drang as options. If that wasn't the case, I think it would have a chance of competing. But because we have heliocentric and Drang, you're not going to see anybody running punching out unless it specifically gets a buff or something. Next weapon. All right, cool. Red box. Does it look cool? No, no. What's with the wing? Does it do its job? Average. It's a lightweight frame. It's solar, so those things kind of help a little bit. Is it easy to get one? Yeah, fairly easy. It's a world drop. And how unique is the role slash stats wise? I don't like this gun all that much. Um, One for All is okay. Rampage is okay. Vorpal's okay. Surrounded. I mean, if you were really gonna use this gun, I'm probably leaning towards Surrounded. Um, Subsistence is good because it kind of pairs with Ice Stinger, but then it works half the time, another half it doesn't. So maybe Compulsive Reloader would be interesting here. With this bigger reload speed and reload duration multiplier. I really don't want to have to do stats roll on this sort of gun, so yeah, that's what I would do. Final verdict. D tier. There's just no reason to use this. That's it. Next weapon. Alright, so now we have Sanuna. It's Stasis. It is online adaptive frame, which is the same thing as the other adaptive frames. I don't know why they kept changing the names here. This was a failed experiment, presumably. Um, Homeland Fluid Dynamics is a okay origin trait. I'd take it. Um, it's basically just compulsive reloader, but you know, worse to make it an origin trait. Headstone is here, so good. Golden Tricorn is here, so good. Um, Invis Assassin just makes me want to throw up on primary weapons because that means I have to use ammo to then come back and not use ammo on something that already has unlimited ammo. That doesn't make any sense. Um, Grave Robber, I think, is the thing you're looking for here, or Feeding Frenzy. Yeah, I don't have much more to say on this thing. So, final verdict. C tier, it should go about the same place that Peace Bond does. I think it's slightly worse than Peace Bond because I think Peace Bond has a more interesting perk set, but that's about it. Next gun. Alright, the Vision. Another Omeline adaptive frame, 3-round burst, whatever the hell. Arc. No origin trait because it's that old, but it still drops for me and I hate it here. Um, does it look cool? No. No, not in the slightest. That's it. It doesn't. Does it do its job? It does okay. The archetype kind of carries that and makes sure it's okay. That's as best as it gets. How easy is it to get? For some reason, these things just kind of drop for me, so 3. And how unique is the roll set? Actually, overdid it. Almost nothing here is useful. Kill clip is an ancient damage increase at this point. We should get away from it. One for all. I'm not doing that with a sidearm. So swashbuckler is your only real choice here. If you were trying to be unique and edgy, you would go with Destruction Break or Synthetic Arsenal with its base increase of reload speed and the fact that it reloads all your stowed weapons. But I want that in the third column. Grave Robber will pair well with Swashbuckler, so that would probably be my combination because nothing else here I care about. Final verdict. D tier is basically just slightly better than high albedo. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. In the final of the sidearms, a swift. I feel like I cut myself off there. A swift verdict. It's a precision frame. We haven't seen a lot of these. I don't hate them. They're okay. Void. It comes from the Prophecy Dungeon, so it's not that hard to get. Does it look cool? Yeah. I like the aesthetic, and it still kind of looks like a pea shooter. I don't know why they keep doing this to sidearms, but I don't hate it. At least not on all of them. Um, no origin trait because it's just old enough for that. Does it do its job? Averagely, because mainly because of its frame. Um, how easy is it to get a hold of one? This is underrated. About a 4. It's a dungeon. It's an old dungeon, and it's easy. So I would recommend giving Prophecy a shot if you hadn't already. How unique is its rolls or stats wise? I don't see anything unique about its stats at all, and the perks on it are not great. The only thing here worth noting would be Destruction Break and Surrounded. Surrounded giving you a massive damage bump, and Destruction Break letting you use other weapons to get a massive damage bump. And the third column is pretty much just threat detector. It's the only thing that's here that is relevant, in my opinion. Final verdict: D tier. I don't see it as anything too special. So, um, and not even special. I actually think you're actively harming yourself if you're using the a swift verdict over your other void option. I was gonna say shins, but that's not true. You have one, and that would be your F word that I can't pronounce. So, going back and looking at this list here, is there anything that I would adjust? Not really. Let's go through the list here. There's a surprising one here. The Vision. I really wanted the Vision whenever it first dropped. Problem is, it was whenever it first dropped, which was like years ago at this point. It's been power corrupt. And I think I wanted it for PvP, not PvE. A surprising pick here in the third column. I mean, in the C row, which would be Forgiveness. I think Forgiveness. I think that it looks better on paper because of the stats and the fact that we hadn't had its archetype in a little while made me really want one and think that it was better than it really was. But then comparing it so directly, it's like nothing special at all. This frame hard carries it. In the B column, is there anything that's interesting here? Empirical evidence. It's one of those that I don't really use, but when you compare its stats, perks, frame to all the other sidearms, it's average. You know, it's pretty average. In the A tier, there's nothing that surprised me here. I think all of these are really good. Proof that we need a better Void sidearm, but Drang and Heliocentric are both really good for solar. You have Brigand's Law with the arc, Mikhail's Reverence, which again I haven't used, but all the stats and all of the traits tell me that it's pretty good. And Buzzard, I don't know, I'm cool with all of these. And then Indebted Kindness is the only S tier. I don't think there would have even been an S tier if Indebted Kindness didn't drop. And on top of that, the only reason I think it's S tier is because it does a job that I don't think other guns in Destiny do outside of machine guns. And sometimes you just want the world to explode and you don't really want a machine gun in your heavy slot. Um, yeah, so that's it. Nothing too crazy. These are all obtainable to some degree in Destiny right now. And I'll do a more in-depth video on the S and A tiers at some point in the future. Later.